sent forth by the local temple to uproot an unsanctioned following of a forbidden faith, our heroes discovered that the population of the town of Avondrad had a significantly underestimated presence of these dissidents. It was only when our heroes located the secret meeting site of these malcontents that they uncovered an insidious plot to twist the teachings of the old gods and use them to recruit unsuspecting town men to the cult of elemental evil. With this plot revealed, our heroes attempted to bring the face of the cult back to town to answer for his crimes, only to be ambushed by armed cultists in the forest who were unprepared to allow our heroes to leave alive. Now, fresh from their victory in the forbidden glade, where once the hidden devotees performed their forbidden rites, our heroes must decide how to act before the cult of elemental evil sees their dark designs through.
Zaid steps up to Wolfrin and lays a hand on his shoulder, looks to his friend and says, "You may be a champion of Sylvanas, but Rune appreciates your efforts and your pains, and may he remove some of the latter." A warm glow travels from Zaid into Wolfrin.
That's better, but can you pull it out?
Oh, shoot. I take out the knife. I presume, like, as he's healed, the knife just, like, pushes itself out of his body.
You're probably right. Thank you, Paladin.
Bor, can I search this dead guy's body for anything valuable or, useful?
Do you want to do that openly or stealthily?
I'm not going to be, like, trying to hide it, but I'm not going to, like, try and draw the attention of that townsperson over there that I'm searching this corpse. This might be a friend of his.
There is the extra mask on the ground next to the corpse. There is a map to this area. 2 strange daggers that look like bones. The robes Eberlin made for them. And this one has holes in it and is bloody. There's some basic survival gear. And you get 5 gold.
I will probably just approach the party with the mask and the map in hand.
Very well.
Can I have Zaid check the body of the lead cultist for anything additional, like missives or something unique to them, and then as well ask Margarash to go retrieve the body of the original Jorah?
This guy right here?
Yeah.
You can see Albert Torek holding a very full pack, and he kind of glares at you when you easily make the connection that he already looted him.
Well, I'll go over to him and ask him if the one in the bushes, the leader, can you tell me about him? Did he have anything on him? Any missives?
He opens his backpack and looks around. No, I don't see anything.
Well, I'll just ask him about, like, the significance of the difference in robe for that individual.
There are green flames on it. He shows it to you. You can have this one if you want.
Oh, he took the ropes off? Yeah, just ask if there was anything else noteworthy that looked interesting that might give us some answers on why they attacked and led you poor folk astray.
We haven't been led astray. I don't worship Rune, I know he exists. But I'm a man of the old ways. People, well, long ago, we were bound to the earth, and I pay respect to that. I think it's wrong that it's made illegal to openly worship and teach about Sylvanas.
But these folk, they clearly weren't interested in teaching about Sylvanas.
He shrugs. There's some fishing gear and some survival things you only find up and around Gask. He had those swamp boots. That's about it.
These men are defilers.
I wanted to whisper to Coulter and ask if he would be able to discreetly detect magic if the peasant had anything magical on him.
You read my mind, friend. I believe I have just enough energy for one more.
Looking back at Albert Torek, you can see the dim glow of magical auras emanating from his pack.
I report this, let him know. You guessed correctly.
I nod back to him, and then I make my way over to Zaid and basically tap him on the shoulder and then relay this information into his ear, along with the fact that I found a map on the other guy, so there could be other documents that he's squirreling away in that pack.
Zaid will usher over Coulter and... Sorry, what was this individual's name again?
This guy, Albert.
Albert. My friend here, he's from the tower. It seems that he believes that you might have an object of some magical significance within that pack. I'd like him to be able to take a look at it in case there's anything cursed in there.
He looks at you suspiciously. Look, but don't touch.
You nod. Pull the contents on the ground so that we can inspect them.
He pulls out almost every article of clothing they were wearing, besides, like, some sort of, like, undergarb. There's a few flasks of unidentified liquid, a ring. One of his daggers that he didn't use was magical. There's an amulet as well, and his mask.
Make note of every single one of those. I point that out to fellows here. Several objects of magical note. I should be able to detect types of magic upon them.
The dagger seems to have a suffused, dim aura of evocation.
Those could be cursed objects of evil intent. They should be examined by the Academy properly. So I'm sort of looking to the others.
Geth is here. He's not very talkative either. He's just kind of observing.
I was going to mention to Coulter and to Zaid, now everyone, that they're in earshot, that we could offer the man a finder's fee, especially for some of the more dangerous objects that we really wouldn't want being traded to people in town.
There's also this thing. It looks like a hand crossbow. Type of roll history?
1 moment, please.
Matches the size of small black crossbow bolts you've seen.
May I see those?
20 gold.
May I see those?
No, you gotta give me 20 gold first.
If I may,
I immediately start walking forward.
Oh, shit!
Don't argue with her.
So, with the combined...
Just give him the fucking arrow.
He relents, and it's not an arrow, it's just the hand crossbow.
Oh, okay.
But it would be of the same size.
Just give him the fucking crossbow.
It almost looks humorous, like a toy, but upon closer inspection, and to the trained eye of archers in the group, it would be functional.
Where did you find this?
He points to the one who had the interesting robe.
Huh. Can I examine it for any markings or language on it?
There's nothing that stands out besides the fact that hand crossbows are just not a thing in other parts of Immaculus.
You said that other archers would recognize that it works and that it's quality.
Mm-hmm.
I hand it back to him. That wasn't so difficult, now was it?
He shrugs a little ashamed.
I just start pacing back and forth impatiently, running my hands over my arms like there's an itch that I can't scratch. But I'm just keeping my head craned, eyes locked on the farmer. Like I look like I'm tweaking out.
Nolame looking at Huggles and not wanting him to get angry at us for possibly killing this guy, leans over and says quietly, trying to intimidate this guy, saying, "We're not paying you for the crossbow. We're making a donation because you are helping us bring this evidence into the count into the church. We're compensating you for helping us bring this evidence to the count into the church. But if you're not helping us, then that means, at best, you're a criminal that's trying to take evidence, which means either the church will want to know about this if you go back to town, or one of my friends who doesn't like whenever people steal evidence might just take objection to it right here in this glade. Now, let us just compensate you fairly for these dangerous magical objects, and then everyone walks away with what they want."
We can dig at the site, but if there's a corpse in there, we're not moving it.
Good enough for me. I just want there to be enough. The ranger as our witness is enough for me. I just want there to be confirmation from an outside party that there was indeed a killing of the original Jorah and a replacement here by his doppelganger before we bring him in.
I need to know all of your names. I have to make a report back to the Count.
I'll return with you to the Count. That's where we were going.
I'm not due back in town quite yet. I have a contact who has a falcon.
Oh.
He nods to Wolfrun.
I must talk to Geth in private for a moment.
My name's Zaid.
I holler, "I'm gonna start digging now."
Don't take anything.
I won't take anything, I promise.
Oh, wait, no, Leme's digging for the body?
I'm the only one who hasn't taken an injury in this last fight, so I'm the only one who won't likely pop a stitch doing it.
Geth seems suspicious of the others. So, what the hell did I just walk into? He says to Wolfrun.
We came here, the bird paladin was tasked with finding, well, about us and, well, the influence that people like me have over this town, that being Sylvanas worshippers. So we came here looking for Jorah, the druid, and what we found was a doppelganger in service to the Temple of Elemental Evil. And, well, that's where things started to fall apart. Apparently, some of the druid's followers in town, not the townsfolk themselves, are part of the cult of the Temple of Elemental Evil.
That muddies the water quite a bit. Even I keep a shrine in my home to Sylvanas and Cord.
Of course. I mean, how many in this entire continent secretly worship Sylvanas?
Many. And I hear it's even worse in the academy, but not for Sylvanas, of course.
Indeed.
I understand you might have a link to what's going on to the east of here, around Calm Hall.
I think I may. It's where I was headed after here before I linked up with this party.
Who are they anyway?
They seem to mean well. There's the orc, she's crazy. The bird paladin, he's crazy. The scholar is sane but a little and then there's the thief. So I believe you can extrapolate from that exactly who they are.
Are they with you?
I don't mind them.
All right. Well, I think what might be good is to get in contact with any druids you might know or have met in your travels. This area needs to be repurposed, I think. I think an actual druid or two can do a lot of good here before the Academy tries to dig it up, or the Temple of St. Garrett tries to burn it down or demolish it. Besides, if this investigation leads to some sort of activities of darkness or whatever, that will not be good for many people. I don't know what the Count will do, but there's already pressure. He's in a meeting right now with diplomats about some sort of petition. There's a lot of names signed on it. He could be breaking royal decree, but we'll see.
You don't think he's involved with this cult, do you?
No, but he's not stupid. There's a lot of public opinion that might push policy. Him willing or not, I don't think he has it in him to stamp down that many civilians. Look, and he takes out a pendant, the same one Lodwig was wearing. Our numbers are too few. I'd be honored to count you among our ranks.
I'm not much of a joiner. I would be associated with you.
He nods. That could work, and he pockets the amulet. Maybe keep an eye out for any ways we can help bolster our numbers. The forests, oh, they were peaceful up until now, but there's too few of us to protect them, and I don't want us turning into some sort of spy network.
Well, you're only as good as your information anyway, aren't you?
I'm a decent shot, too.
I didn't mean you personally.
He shrugs.
The man with the falcon, what's his name?
His name's Netherbow, Ronkier, I think.
Oh, I thought that might be him.
I'm not surprised you know him.
To the north, yes?
He nods. He's keeping an eye on suspicious orc activity.
Boy, I got news for him.
Really?
It's with me every day.
Let him know the situation down here. He might be able to lend you some help.
I was just talking about Margarash.
That one?
Yep.
Well, I'm heading towards him after this, but if you have any messages you want me to deliver, let me know.
Tell him Jorah's dead.
Is he?
I believe so.
All right. Let's get back to them. They're probably waiting. Okay, so he moves to the side, indicating that he's not gonna, like, stop you, or maybe he can't, but he takes up position next to the prisoners. I'll do what I can to tighten these, but I can't physically take them back alone. One of you is gonna have to.
I'm pale and sort of sweating brow from using all this magic tonight. This vision's overcoming me for the moment as my eyes sort of roll back in my head and I'm seeing all his thoughts, and I snap back and I ruminate on what I just saw. I'm just going to concentrate on this for the next minute.
Margarash and Wolfrun noticed that Calder was having some sort of spasm, or his eyes rolled back into his head for a moment.
You alright over there?
Knit my brow together and stare at him. I'm familiar with some magic, but it's performed way differently than what I'm witnessing.
It almost looks similar to some of the shamanism you've been exposed to, yeah?
I nod and I look around. I'm concentrating on it, but for the moment, yeah, are they going? They're going towards the to investigate the grave.
Yeah, anyone who wants to do that now, Geth isn't gonna stop you. But
I feel like I should
watching.
at least observe.
Geth nods.
Zaid will stay with the prisoners.
I'll go.
I'm not helping, though.
Ooh, hello, Huggles.
I will observe.
Huggles. Huggles might help.
Oh, Huggles is such a good boy. Huggles would definitely help.
Is it a boy? Did you check?
I
It
did.
is a boy.
I was gonna
Okay.
say with a name like Huggles, though.
Alright, you approach a blank patch of soil, which has been disturbed recently. Judging by its condition, it could be a few days old to a week old.
Unless there's any objections, I'm going to continue digging until I either hit some sort of rock or I seem to come across a body.
I drop
I would-
my weapons and I start helping him.
I would wager all I have that the body is within. He did indeed commit the murder. Let us see for ourselves.
Does anyone have shovels?
I do have an explorer's pack.
Alright, so after several minutes, you find a wrapped body. Bear sniffs curiously, but it's been dead for too long for it to be of any interest to him, and the smell kind of drives him away.
I guess I help Nolame in bringing the body out of the hole,
Whoa,
if that's
whoa,
what he's trying
whoa.
to do.
I look back at Wolfrun because his whole point was we could dig, but if it turns out it's a grave, then we don't take anything out of the grave.
Yeah, we can't disturb the body.
Pouring the dirt back onto it.
I call Geth over. Is there anything you would recognize this body by?
He looks over. It's wrapped kind of like a mummy. I need to see the face. I knew he had red hair.
Would you unwrap the face for me, please?
You can see on Nolame's face that he's just as aware of the putrid smell as the bear was, but he doesn't say anything. He just leans in and reverently unwraps the bindings around the head.
Speaking about the head, there seems to be his skull is caved in at the forehead. Poor bastard. That's him, all right. He points to a wooden necklace around him. Always wore that. I assume.
It's all right. If they knew who I am, they're not going to care who you are.
That priest warrior might be able to reconsecrate this grave. It is outside of the ring, so I don't think it would disturb or anger any gods.
Very well.
Oh, I do actually have a ceremony.
Anything else? The smell's kind of a lot to take in.
No, we should probably rebury him and see if the paladin would help reconsecrating the grave.
Geth wanders back over to Zaid and informs him of the situation and that he might be useful in doing such a thing.
I begin refilling the grave with dirt.
It would take about an hour at least for me to perform such a consecration. Do we have time?
He shrugs. I gotta get back, but I can take one of these guys.
We'll bring them all together. What is most important for you is your testimony.
All right.
Nolame, quit slacking off.
Oh, God damn it.
Put your back
Back in there.
Nolame's the only one without an injury, and yet he is noticeably shoveling the least amount of dirt right now.
Hey, I got healed.
Oh, that's right.
I'm good. Oh, God.
Now that's what I'm talking about.
Now the bear's helping.
Before the ranger leaves, I can kind of look over and go, so, the bear, was it like Jor's pet? Is that why it stays here, or is it completely unrelated?
He shrugs, but the cultists nod.
Oh, poor thing. I think it's about time we get going. We can make our way back out here, and I can perform a funeral rite on the grave.
I think we should head back with the prisoners before we consecrate the grave.
I need to find someone in town anyway.
The longer we linger, the better chance reinforcements may arrive.
I think we were going to go to the temple first, and then to the castle.
There's a complement of official Runian guard and an actual knight, a real knight, just like Zaid, who walks forward and addresses Zaid and says, "Welcome. The Count is currently busy right now. Are you here on business?"
You can
Indeed, we are here to see the cannon.
He looks towards the others. "And you are?"
Good friends of Basil, would you let us in, please?
Zaid is occupation bound to give his title on request. I am Zaid Azar, Knight Tutelar of the Piercing Star, champion of Rune among the Sacri.
"I see. I am Sir Typhos. Well met." I am here on guard detail. If you all could surrender your arms, we will let you in after.
Is there something amiss?
The Count is in.
In the temple?
Of course.
Very well, I will offer you my rapiers, although I would request that I be able to keep my banner.
Naturally.
I'm going to wait out here.
I'll give you my axes, but I can't stab someone with a shield, right?
Fair enough, Red Lady. They make Eric collect the weapons.
I look him in the eye and just hold my axe out to my side and reveal the hand axe that's also holstered at my hip that I usually throw. And I say, go ahead, take it from me.
Alright, so he very carefully takes it from you.
Can I lean in and ask him, is everything okay with the cannon?
It might be a little heated in there. Be careful.
I give him a nod and just say, Rune guide you.
I would probably stay out here because I'm assuming they would have to search my bag, and I have that problematic dagger that we bought from the one guy, and then the two daggers that the other guy had, so actually I'd probably go into town, but I don't know if my party would consider it fucking suspicious if I'm like, oh, I have things to take care of.
The knight asks Zaid if the people in green are coming inside as well.
I nod.
And I can't help but notice that they are in bondage.
They are.
Very well. One moment. And he walks inside first. Eventually he comes out, not wearing his helmet anymore.
I just realized something. I look towards Wolf Run for a moment and kind of nod toward down the stairs, just to have a word. You remember our conversation with your fat friend?
Yes.
Do you recall when he mentioned that someone had reported to the Count about our little interaction with the spiders in the woods?
Yes, I do.
Do you think this will end poorly in any way?
There's always a chance, and I would say that right now there's a greater chance that it will, yes. I think it's best that I remain outside. I think you should go in, though.
Very well.
I trust you with a shield more than I trust most men with an axe.
Appreciated.
Tyvos gives the all clear and then steps to the side. You can go on in.
Nola May was glad for the quiet that came from the withdrawal of the others into the church, providing him, for the first time in days, with the opportunity to reflect. As he digs through his pack, looking for old pipe and pouch, he finally lowers, at least internally, the barriers that he's had to maintain since entering the grove. Finding his pipe and his pouch, he digs out a generous portion of herb and packs it, wondering to himself whether any of his companions caught on to just how distracted and distressed he's been. He kicks himself for resorting so quickly to the Black Hands when in the grove, in his desperation to conclude these local matters and turn to things of more immediate concern for him. Although he thinks, putting the pipe into his mouth, the others very likely viewed his actions as consistent with his past tendencies rather than as a result of the disquietude of his mind. Nolame snaps his fingers and lights his pipe, the glowing from within as he drags air through the tool, serving as the final proof. Something in the glade, or something that was watching the glade, responded to his presence there. Or perhaps was it something in himself that responded to his presence there? Why, he thinks, did some of his powers now return to him? If this change only happened after entering the grove, surely he and something about that place were woven closely together in the pattern. If he could only remember why he lost access to these abilities, perhaps he would then understand why he responded as he did to entering the grove. It was the sudden return memories that had been occupying Nolame's mind through the entire return journey to Avendrad. Even during the fight to keep the prisoner, Nolame was trying to process the influx of experiences forgotten for... how long even was it? He has one memory of using his minor magics to the delight of the children of a poor Arnosian noble, which was just part of a larger scheme to part the man from a book his family kept in their ancient library. That was around 20 years ago or so, he thinks to himself, and definitely was one of the most recent reliable memories in his fragmented mental timeline. Somehow his mind had just papered over how magical tricks had always been one of the tools helping him on his journey since leaving Minaris, what was effectively a lifetime ago. Nolame racked his newly restored memories for something that might be connected to the grove, but by the time he was emptying his pipe and refilling it with a different, rarer plant, he still had not come to any promising leads. Inhaling the warm smoke, Nolame decided to approach the problem from a different angle, now returning to his memories of the grove, this time looking for anything that simply felt intuitively familiar. Eventually, his mind turned to considering the mystic nature of the woven gates in the grove, and in so doing found himself thinking back to learning to read the secret scripts found in the Clan Endorus Hall of Wisdom. The old ache returned, thinking of when his father used to field all the questions his young mind could conjure, Nolame eventually falling asleep with him in the library, as he did his research and compiled his sealed entries for inclusion in the vaults. And how, once his father had turned away from him, how his uncle would sneak restricted texts to him on his way from ceremonial closing the library for the night, then returning them again before the brass bars were parted with the rising of the sun. Later, Nolame would do this for Arian, although by means of a different ploy. Then, as he sits smoking and thinking about his family, another memory falls suddenly into place. But unlike the others, this one was fresh, as though it had never been viewed before, as if in that moment Nolame was remembering, for the first time, the very last time he had seen his uncle. It was the angriest Nolame had ever seen the veritable mage scholar, looming over him as Nolame knelt in the cold sea water, surfing over a desolate rock within sight of Minaris. He was angry because Nolame had again tried to return to the islands by deception, and because this selfish act endangered all they sought to accomplish. Nolame submitted to his uncle's judgment and shame, but fearing that shame would not hold him back, his uncle locked away Nolame's memories of having any magical affinity, without which an attempted return could not be contemplated. Setting down the spent pipe, Nolame reaches into his bag and extracts from a special pocket a tightly wound scroll, sealed with gray wax bearing the alchemical symbol for lead. Well, Nolame says, that answers at least one question. If the magic his uncle used to seal his memories worked on the same principles that kept the knowledge in the scroll hidden, and this was likely the case, then they may operate on the same sort of trigger mechanism. But, he thinks frustrated as he puts pipe back into his bag, this still leaves unanswered what specifically about the grove acted as the trigger. And what was the significance of that trigger? Used to make things so much easier for me, not more difficult, Nolame mutters to himself.
Prisoners in tow, our heroes met with the Count of Avondrad and Canon Basil. Once they had told of their adventures, the party was invited to meet with a spy in the neighboring town of Gask to hasten their efforts to stop the cult of elemental evil. But first, they were instructed to rest, and so they did.
Great One, please excuse this disruption, but I bear unfortunate tidings from the forest west of Avondrad.
Unfortunate. Those gatherings are central to our plan. What news of our agitator?
Dead, O Great One. I do not relish in telling you that I alone am left of the operation near the Druid's Glade. Somehow, a small coterie of interlopers followed trails made by the careless fools from town and uncovered our plans.
Our fellowship is in danger of fragmenting already. The dark corridor of our temple is already being courted by an outside power. Behold, His gift to them. A wand. Now may be time to use it.
What? No, master. Please, I...
Find them. Leave none alive.